Rocket League is a simple game. 6 guys chase a ball around for 5 minutes, trying to score into the opponent's goal. And in the end, the team with the most French players wins. When it comes to standard play, there are only 2 deviations from this 5-minute timer. The main one, naturally being overtime, a sudden death, potentially infinite next goal win scenario should the game be tied in goals at the end of the regulation 5 minutes. Rocket League's other deviation from its 5-minute timer also enters the potential infinite, and is perhaps the catalyst of the game's greatest tension. I am of course talking about 0 seconds. A game of Rocket League does not end when the clock hits 0, but rather when the ball touches the ground. It can be a hard lesson to learn, but rest assured, someone will teach it to you. The RLCS is arguably defined by its 0-second heroics. Whether it was Justin's shot heard around the world, the Scrubkilla's emphatic sinking of G2, or even entire RLCS regionals being won at the literal last second, there is no greater thrill than seeing a play executed with literally no time to respond.
The best touch, Fatira! Goals game!
However, if we look at the RLCS, before Scrubkilla against G2, before Justin against Dignitas, hell, before Cookser versus Selfless, the first truly meaningful 0-second goal in the RLCS happened all the way back in 2016. And this is its story. The Rocket League World Championship graced European soil for the first time ever as RLCS Season 2's live finals emanated from Amsterdam in December of 2016. And despite being unlikely yet reigning world champions, as is tradition, North America was in the mud. Number 1 seed NRG had lost in Game 5 overtime to bottom seed Precision Z. Previous world champions iBuyPower hadn't even qualified for the North American playoffs, let alone the World Championship. And the rest of the NA rosters, respectfully, were pretty rubbish in comparison to European titans like Flipside Tactics and Northern Gaming. The final match of Upper Round 1 would see NA hopefuls Orbit Esports take on Mocket Aces from Europe. And while it might sound a bit crazy to modern viewers, Orbit had the backing of the European crowd. The new guys had really taken it to NA's elite, and kept within an inch of becoming North American champions. Yes, they had been at the prior World Championship, but they'd leveled up greatly since, and the appeal of Turtle, Moses and Garrett G was universal. It did help that their opponents were Mocket Esports. Not that the crowd hurled boos at them on sight, there was an absolute respect for the abilities of Pashi, Devo and Violent Panda. Just the formation of this team had come in a very underhand manner. And the organisation itself, to put it politely, was absolute scum. Alas, the series started, and Orbit took the first game by a score of 2-1, setting the tone for what was looking to be the most competitive match of the day. Or at least that's what people thought, as by the end of Game 2 overtime, Orbit had doubled the lead and put themselves on match point. Not even a Game 3 victory for Mocket could dent the hopes, as Garrett G was the first to strike in the next game by a 142 kph counterattack. That is 88 miles per hour in freedom units, by the way. He followed that up with an incredible double tap. And trust me, for 2016, this was awe-inspiring from Garrett.
Keeping this pressure on, 3:26 left to go, he's got a carry to drop, this one pinches it off the corner and it's a 2-goal game!
It was his performance in this series that really cemented him as the guy in North America, making NRG's acquisition of him in the new year a no-brainer. As Game 4 entered its final moments, Orbit looked to be in control, staying on top of the Mocket offense and applying pressure of their own. It seemed that nothing could stop them from succeeding.
Pass from Devo, he's watching, goes into the air, draws up 2, nobody's in the backfield, it's all up to Violent Panda, he puts it in, it's a tie game!
Like I said, it seemed that nothing could stop Orbit from succeeding.
Devo drops it down, Garrett gets the block, but Pashi in the finish, it puts it underneath, we go to Game 5!
European domination was encroaching and inevitable. Mocket had been given a lifeline, and they ran with it. Once they held off the initial Orbit flurry in Game 5, all it took was one counterattack for Pashi to put Mocket in the lead, that while only 1 goal, seemed unattainable for Orbit. Already in the process of being reverse swept off some monumental errors, there was no way they could rebound with all the pressure on them. Right? Well, one minor mistake from Mocket opened up a lane for Turtle to snipe the bottom corner of their net. 1-1. The ensuing kickoff resulted in another defensive stand from Orbit, but they withstood it. And then out of nowhere, on the transition, Garagy miraculously dunks the ball over all 3 Mocket players and scores the open net, to put Orbit in the lead with just 14 seconds remaining. 2-1. All they had to do was play safe and conservative, and the reverse sweep would be denied. 10 seconds left. The time for Mocket on Urban Central continued to tick down. With just 3 seconds to go, Devo found Violent Panda downfield, but his shot was sent away by Moses. And as the clock hit 0, Orbit had survived the final 5 minutes against Mocket Aces. Except, remember what I said earlier, the game is not over until the ball touches the ground. And the whole world watching was about to learn exactly just that.
Plays it past Turtle. The jitters coming through. Violent Panda passes it down. And Moses! The touch from Moses sends it away from the goal. Can they get it all the way? It's going! Violent Panda! He runs it in! We go to overtime!
Devo gets that touch out to Violent Panda, keeping their composure enough to stay on offense. He turns around and gets the shot. Orbit doesn't have that final touch. Moses with a great save. Tying going into overtime in game 5.
Like most 0-second equalizers in this esports history, this one from Mocket was not in vain. The ensuing Game 5 overtime was the literal breaking point for Orbit, as to the surprise of no one, Mocket closed it out to reverse sweep them into the lower bracket. Its impact doesn't just end with that series though. Mocket took the little inches given to them and ran a full mile all the way to the grand finals, whilst Orbit's misery was compounded by a humiliating loss to Take 3, as they bowed out in last place. Vitality's recent run to Spring Major Glory had been thinking about how so many tiny margins come to define our esport. If not for an exotic boost grab or superior Seiko or AGG shooting, who knows what would have happened to the Hornets in Boston? And to relate it to this story, if not for even an ounce of Orbit composure, the entire season's World Championship would have been permanently altered. Alas, them's the breaks, and even when there are literally 0 seconds on the clock, the finest margins have the biggest differences. We've seen it before, and we'll continue to see it, season after season, no doubt about that. But never forget the RLCS original 0-second goal.